going to speak a little bit about perhaps tips that I've felt might be helpful to share with you about doing research. Whether it be masters, whether it be PhD, if you're thinking about doing either of those. I hope, there's no great secret here, but these are just tips that I felt helpful to me. The first thing I should say is that doing a research degree is difficult. You might have had a brilliant time as an undergraduate and thought, oh, a pity to give up this. I'd love to do more of the same, really. It's great. You can get up late, you could spend quite a lot of time socialising, fantastic to carry on doing that. I can't be bothered to do a job. I'll just carry on and do some research and be like being an undergraduate for another 3 years or whatever. It is great, but it is difficult. And you certainly would be not advised to opt to do a research degree just because you can't be bothered to find a job. It's not a soft option. It's a very, very worthwhile option, but it certainly is not a soft option. And you will have to live with this, as I've said, for 3 years, but you will have to produce something, an original contribution at the end of it. So it's a fantastic thing to do, but it's really not a soft option. Okay, so let's think then about when you've decided to do a research degree, some of the things that you should perhaps bear in mind. You need to ask yourself, do I really want to do research? Why am I doing this? Am I doing it because I don't fancy going out to work? Do I actually care about the topic that I've chosen?
Sure.
Now this is really important because I've said you've got to live with this topic for 3 years, and even if you love the topic, after 3 years you'll be sick of it. And so it really will help if you do care about the topic you've chosen. My topic was, as I told you, it was looking at Welsh. I really strongly believed in that topic. I really enjoyed doing it. It was a contribution I wanted to make. But I still got sick of it after 3 years. You imagine what it would have been like if I hadn't even been interested in that topic very much. It's so important to pick a topic you really do care about.
So how did you push yourself through?
Well, I mean, that's part of the training. You've just got to say, right, okay, this is what I'm going to do, and this is what I signed up to do, and I am making a contribution. You get great moments and you get not so great moments. You get good days and not so great days, but you've got to be focused, and that's part of the training as well, that you acquire this sort of, sticking at it sort of thing, which is actually quite a good transferable skill. Also, when you think of your topic, you need to ask yourself, is the topic that you've chosen realistic? Now, when we start our research degrees, we might have these ideas about doing these fantastically enormous topics that are going to solve a lot of the world's problems. You've got to remember that you've got, if you're doing a PhD, 3 years, about 3 years to do it. If you're doing a master's topic, you've got less than 3 years to do it. You've got to think, is the topic that you've chosen doable? And actually, you are better off thinking of a bite-sized topic that you can realistically do in the time that's been allocated, even if it doesn't sound like the greatest thing in the world. Because after you've done your master's, or after you've done your PhD, that can be one stepping stone to achieving this great goal, and then perhaps in a subsequent time after your master's, after your PhD, you can do another little stepping stone. And perhaps by the end of the career, you will have answered the big question, but you're not going to answer a massive question in 3 years. And it's extremely important to pick a research topic that is a realistic topic, that is a bite-sized topic. You also need to ask yourself, are you actually in the right place to do this topic? For example, you might quite fancy going to university by a nice beach, or by a good ski resort or something like that, because you think, hey, on the weekends then I can go to the beach, that would be fantastic. And actually, we do look at places like Grenoble in the French Alps, and they get massive amounts of people applying there, because there's great skiing by Grenoble. But if you don't have the people to work with, to supervise you, if you don't have the correct, laboratory, or if you don't have the correct, department or the correct team to interface with, then actually, your research isn't going to go very well. So you do need to think about the place. What is the place you've chosen? Can that offer you a good environment to do your PhD? Because you can always go skiing or go to the beach afterwards, all right? It's very important to pick the university that's right for you, because not all of them will be. And a university that might be right for your friend might not be right for you. So it's important to think about that as well. There is no real secret to the completion of a research degree. It's all common sense. And the biggest tip I can give you is to be organised. You can be as bright as you like, but if you're not organised, you won't finish the PhD or the Masters. You can have sparky ideas, might be, world-shattering, life-changing ideas, but without organisation, you will not convert those ideas into a completed thesis. So what have you got to do? Well, you've got to plan your work. You've got to decide how much time you've got to complete your PhD, and you've got to map out that time. You've got to decide what task you will do at what point. You've got to break your PhD down into things that you've got to do and see how long you're going to allocate for them realistically. You've got to decide how much time you will allow for each task. If you've got a year and you've got 4 tasks, it's unlikely that every single one of those tasks will take a quarter of a year each. You've got to weigh up, is this a demanding task? Is this not a demanding task? What can I do quickly? What's going to take me more time? And you've got to also make sure that you do put in enough time. Okay, there can be a great temptation when you do a PhD to think, oh, well, great, no deadline for 3 years. How cool is that? So this week I need to go shopping and it's my friend's birthday and it would be kind of a shame not to take advantage of the good weather. You can see how you can very easily decide to put off work this week and perhaps do it next week, and then next week comes and, oh, I don't think I can do it this week, because nobody's going to know, right, if you haven't got a deadline for 3 years. And yet, if you don't put in enough time right from the very beginning, then you're going to store up trouble for yourself. So again, I would give you the tip of trying to decide what your work day would be, and I would suggest 9 to 5, not shorter, all right, with a break, as you might have if you were doing a job, because that's what you're doing really, is you're doing a job, and you need to make sure that you put in that amount of time. There's no substitute for putting in the amount of time for your research degree. The other thing to remember is that you will encounter difficulties doing your research degree, and we all do. Do not panic, okay? If you've been organised, if you've planned your work well enough, then you will have left yourself time to sort out these difficulties. Be constructive, okay? Don't sort of think, oh no, I've wasted a fortnight now doing this and I shouldn't have, and now it's all my PhD or my master's is not going to work because I've wasted this fortnight now doing something that hasn't turned into anything. Oh dear, panic, panic, panic. Be constructive. Think instead, well, thank goodness for that. I only wasted a fortnight on that. I could have wasted a month. Luckily, I planned out my time well enough to allow for this sort of eventuality. Okay? Once you get yourself in an out of control panic, that's really not going to help you at all. You need to take a deep breath and you need to think, this is what happens to everybody. This is why you have the time that you have to do your research. It's to allow you. You're making an original contribution. It's going to be difficult. So allow yourself time to stand back and think, right, that didn't work. What has that taught me then? The fact that this avenue didn't work is itself a finding. So be constructive when you hit your difficulties. The other thing to remember is that you've got somebody by your side who can help you when you hit these difficulties. You've got your research supervisor. Your research supervisor may not have hit those precise difficulties, but your research supervisor will have experience of doing research, will have experience of hitting difficulties, and will very probably be able to help, or at least to suggest some ways that you might find of coming out of these present difficulties. And it's important to remember to keep in touch with your supervisor. Ask them, make sure your supervisor knows about things. Don't take all the difficulties and all the worry on yourself. That's what your supervisor is there for. And if you do find at the end of the day, well, this topic really is not working, and you can only find that out by working on the topic, because this is an original contribution, as we've been saying. So you can usually change that topic if you realise that soon enough. I'm not saying like 3 weeks before handing in your thesis, that's not the time to change the topic, no. But again, if you've been organised, if you've been putting in this time consistently, you will realise within a few weeks whether or not this is going to be a topic that is doable, and that it is no problem changing your topic after a few weeks. So within limits, if the worst comes to the worst, you can change your topic, but you'll only find out about that if you've actually been working steadily and consistently on that topic. I talked about the supervisor earlier. I can't emphasise enough the importance of remaining in contact with your supervisor, meeting regularly with your supervisor. That doesn't mean every day, that might not mean every week. That might mean, perhaps in the initial stages of research, once a fortnight, or as you get more confident, once a month. But regular contact is extremely important. Make sure your supervisor knows what's happening. Don't be wary about approaching your supervisor. That's what your supervisor is there for. Don't think, oh, I can't approach X or Y because they're busy people and they won't want to help me, they've got so much else to do. No, it's part of their job to help you. They wouldn't have agreed to be your research supervisor unless they were interested in you. Go to them, ask for advice, and do it when you hit the problem. Don't wait for 2 months and then decide to see your supervisor. Keep your supervisor in the loop. But at the end of the day, you can't expect your supervisor to write your research degree for you. All right? It is your own piece of work, and your supervisor will help you a lot, but they will not write your thesis for you. You need to take ownership at the end of the day. It is your piece of work. Your piece of work will be on the cover of this. In the final stages of your PhD, I've heard so many people in the final stages say, oh no, I'm writing up, it's a nightmare, it's really awful, I didn't find it really awful at all. I had a very good PhD supervisor, but the reason that I didn't find it very awful is because I wrote up my research as I went along. And that I found very, very helpful indeed. What I aimed to do, what my PhD supervisor's very good advice to me was as you do a little bit of research, write it up. Then go off and do another bit and then write it up. Then do another bit and write it up. I'm not saying that these will definitely all form part of your end product that is your thesis, not at all. You will revise them many times, or you might even find, oh, I don't want that bit anymore, whatever. But if you write things up as you go along, you will feel reassured as you see piles of papers that you have written mount up on that shelf. And then when it does come to to producing the final draft, you've already got a lot of work done and in written form. And even if you don't keep it in that form, you probably won't keep it in that exact form. It's much, much easier to revise things than it is to start writing from scratch about things that you did a year and a half ago. So writing up need not be a chore. We tend to dramatise it sometimes and tell us how awful it is, and it's meant to be quite cool to tell other people how awful and what a nightmare it is to write up a PhD, but absolutely not. It can be quite straightforward. Certainly what a PhD is not is sitting down at a word processor and going, oh, finished now, that's my PhD done. It's not at all like that. Write up as you go along, you will be doing yourself a great favour. And again, when you're writing up, you might sort of be putting off starting. Oh, I've got to write up now. Oh, but it's fine. I've got to write up now. Oh, but I just need to do this cleaning. Yes, that cleaning I haven't done for like 6 months. Now is the day I'm going to do it, so I don't have to do the PhD writing up. Again, the best tip I can give you about writing up is do not procrastinate. Just sit down and write. You won't write a perfect text to start off with, all right? As Ernest Hemingway has said in a much more eloquent way than I can. Your first draft is not going to be any good at all. You're going to need to revise and revise and revise. But if you've sat down, if you've written something on that piece of paper, then again, it's far easier to take the next step and refine it. So write up as you go along. And remember, it doesn't matter you haven't got to produce a perfect draft the first time. You probably won't. I take about 6 or 7 drafts from beginning to final product. Okay? But it is easier to revise than to start from scratch. So just sit down and write something when you're writing up. And don't think of writing a PhD or a master's just as something that you sit down one day and then do. Oh, okay, it's Wednesday at 9 o'clock, I'm going to sit down now and write my PhD. I mean, you don't do that. As you can see from that slide, it's a cyclical process. Okay, you set your writing goals, then you do a lot of reading. You might then review your thoughts and set those down on paper. And then you might have a look at your draft and review that draft. And then you might decide to do some more reading. Okay, it's a goal. It's a round thing. It's a cycle. You're not sort of just write, finish, submit. Okay, it's a cycle of one process of that cycle, as you can see there, feeding into another, and it's a continual process that will go round and round that cycle many times. Another valuable tip I think I can give you is that you need to finish this research degree at some point. There will have to be one point where you say, right, finished now, I'm going to let it go. And that can be scary. Okay, you've got your finished product and now you're submitting it for examination. But you do have to let go at some point. Okay? I know it probably won't be perfect. We all think when we're doing our research degrees that it's got to be the most perfect piece of research that it ever was. With hindsight, I'm sure many of us who've done research degrees can look back and say, yeah, it was okay, but it wasn't perfect. Okay? You never finish research, really. You do what you can at a particular time, and then in perhaps a few years, something else may have happened that have changed our thoughts. All right, but it is extremely important that at the end of this writing process, you need to be able to say, okay, done now, draw a line, submit it for examination. Now, I'm not saying you can write any old rubbish and then say, right, I'm going to let that go. All right, it does need to be, you know, a good standard, and the supervisor needs to have seen it and approved it and all of that. But at the end of the day, you have a certain amount of time allocated for writing your research degree, and at the end of that time, you have to let it go. When you're at university, and I know this is definitely the case here at AUT, you've got a fantastic research environment. And when you're doing a research degree, you really should make use of this research environment. There are research seminars, there are talks. Yes, they take up time. And so you might think, oh, I don't really want to go to that talk again today now because I'd so much, you know, rather do something else or go out of an evening or go and have dinner with somebody or walk down that. For example, then you can even offer to present them if you like. And you might think, oh, well, I don't really want to present my work. But again, it's great to have free feedback. When you're giving a talk, you're usually going to be in a not hostile at all environment. It's going to be an environment where people are interested in what you do. They know a bit about what you do. You will probably be the expert, but they will know a little bit about the context. And it's a way of getting other people to comment on your research. You've got your supervisor's comments, and they are very important. But it's very good as well to have other people's feedback, because you never know. That just might send you down a particular avenue that will be a great contribution to your own research. So, you know, these research seminars give you opportunities to network, to meet the people in your subject or in related areas. That is always going to be useful. You get these this free feedback. You enhance your presentation skills if you give talks, because you've got to learn how to do that as well, because doing that is part of doing a research degree as well. So don't think of it as this waste of time when I would rather be down the pub. Think of it as, you know, quite a good opportunity actually to meet people in your subject and to talk about things relating to your subject in a very friendly environment. I mentioned transferable skills earlier, so whatever job you go and get in the long run, whether it be within academia or not within academia, you will find that your employer is going to be interested in transferable skills. And you probably won't think that you're learning many transferable skills as you do a research degree, but in fact, of course, you are. You're learning, for example, how to communicate, how to structure arguments. You may be learning IT skills. You're learning the discipline of organisation. There's a lot that you are learning as you do your research degree. Also, have a look to see whether your institution offers formal programmes on research training. You might, for example, have a day on how to give presentations, or you might have a day on how to structure an argument, or a day on how to use computational methods in your study of language, or whatever. And these are definitely worth going to, because basically they make you more marketable. And you're competing today in a tough job market. If a university is offering you these courses for free, you may as well do them and have that under your belt. That's going to enhance your CV and make that more marketable, more attractive to an employer. Networking is extremely important. You might think a research degree is all about sitting down and writing the research degree on your own in the library or in your wherever you work, in your study, in your bedroom, wherever. But in fact, getting to know other people in your subject is extremely important. For example, if I hadn't organised a conference at Cambridge and networked with Professor Kā'i, I wouldn't be standing here today. Goodness, I'm glad I did that bit of networking. All right, getting to know people in your subject leads them to know about your research, and you never know what might follow on from that. It's also important that you know about other people's research. You want to make sure you're not doing the same research as they are, for example. So how do you go about doing this? Well, while you're doing a research degree, you might want to attend postgraduate conferences in your subject, which will give you the opportunity to present your research and to talk to other people who are your peers, again, in a non-hostile environment. Well, you might say there aren't any postgraduate conferences in my subject. Okay, organise one then. That gives you a lot of transferable skills. It also gives you an excellent opportunity to network with other people in your subject, because all the people attending the conference, they're going to know you if they don't know anybody else. So be open to attending at postgraduate conferences, or if you feel more confident, at full-blown academic conferences. Give a paper there, or if you don't feel you quite want to give a paper there, well, give a poster. There are usually opportunities for presenting at least a poster at this type of event. So just to show you that I'm not telling you to do anything that I don't do myself, there's an example of me listening at a conference. And here's me speaking at a conference from the floor, asking a question. And here's me engaged in what looks like an extremely interested discussion. I didn't know that photograph was being taken. Thank goodness I do look interested, during a coffee break. Now, in fact, when we all go to conferences, I know when I started off thinking about conferences, when I was a postgraduate student, I thought, oh right, well, I just go to the papers, and perhaps I just won't go to all the teas and coffees because I don't know anybody, whatever. Actually, the tea breaks, coffee breaks, the lunch times, the breaks can be far more useful to you in many cases than the actual papers themselves. The papers themselves will tell you about other people's research. You might make a research connection, and that might be great. But what you'll have a chance to do in the tea and coffee breaks, in the lunchtime, in the dinners, is to talk to people, to get to know the people, to get them to know you, to exchange ideas, to say, oh, I've been working on this. And they might say, oh, I've been working on that. Have you thought of doing that like this? And again, you make connections which may be useful in your own research, or at the very least you get to meet people and see what other people are doing. So it's that network word again. And you can see that even in gardens, right? You don't have to be inside to network. And then here's me speaking at a conference in Normandy. And I put this slide in, which shows me doing some country dancing in a not particularly elegant way, just up there. This is to show that networking doesn't have to be done at conferences. I work with Norman speakers. I need to gain their confidence. I need to show them that I'm just ordinary and one of them, really, and that I'm not too sort of proud that I'm not decided, I'm just going to stay in my little bubble, I'm not really going to mix with you, I'm just going to be over here with my papers. Okay? So, I was at a Norman festival in Normandy, and there was folk dancing, so I did folk dancing. Normal thing to do. Everybody else was doing it, so I did it as well. And then again, you could have speakers in Norman thinking, oh yeah, okay, she's just like one of us then. Oh fine, yeah, of course I'll speak to her. Just show that you mix with the community. You're not apart from the community. You owe a lot to the community in which you work if you're a linguist. Give something back to them then. I said that I founded the Cambridge Youth Languages and Cultures group. And so these are examples of that conference. All right? So I do organise conferences as well. As we've said, this is where I met Professor Kai, and this is how I've come to speak to you today. There's been 4 so far, and there's a 5th on the 31st of July next year. You're all very welcome to come if you would like to. Yeah. This was the Cambridge conference, and you can see that there I'm talking at the front, and then there's somebody else sitting by my side. Now he was my postgraduate student. If you don't feel confident enough organising a conference, why not ask your supervisor if you can help them in the conference that they may be organising? Because again, this will give you access to all the people who come to the conference, and it will also enable you to learn from your supervisor the transferable skills that go with organising the conference. So you haven't got to do everything on your own. You've got to reinvent the wheel each time. Ask your supervisor for help. The supervisor would probably be very glad of it. I was very glad to have this student that helped me in running the conference. So to sum up then, what I've been trying to tell you is that I'm not saying that doing a research degree is easy. You know that yourselves if you're doing one. It's not easy, but it is a very, very worthwhile thing to do. It is definitely worth it. In my case, absolutely worth it. Through doing a PhD, I have sandboarded on the 90-mile beach in the north of your country. I've taught a summer school on a lovely lake in the middle of Bavaria in Germany. I've spoken at a conference on Jersey to politicians and the community, not just to academics. And I've also tasted boysenberry ripple ice cream, which we don't have in the UK, and which I would never ever have tasted. Can you imagine never having tasted boysenberry ice cream? So doing a PhD, doing any research degree is hard work, but it is definitely worth it. Diolch yn fawr iawn. Thank you very much.